Aloha, good evening everyone on this pleasant Tuesday night from Highland, Utah. Welcome to the Lone Peak Fieldhouse in this presentation of Lone Peak Girls Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network. Tonight, the Lone Peak Knights take on the East Leopards as they try to bounce back in the final tune-up before the Lehigh Holiday Hoop Fest. Alexander Timolev flying solo with you this evening. Apologize for the late start, folks. We had some technical difficulties coming on the air. Hopefully they're resolved. No changes in the lineup for Nancy Warner's Lone Peak Knights. The East Leopards have no changes in their lineup either. So we're ready to tip it off here at LPHS. Once again, we apologize for the technical difficulties coming on the air, but we got them resolved. It is Lawrence, Nordstrom, Kaylee Rich, Naya Tanuvasa, and Sarah Bartholomew starting for Lone Peak. No Kennedy Woolston tonight for the Knights. And off we go here from the Fieldhouse this evening. Nordstrom out front, guarded. Back into the corner, Lawrence trying to lob it into the block. Tanuvasa, she takes a hard fall and she's fouled as she's undercut from behind. Nora Ahmed Bakr picks up the foul. That's her first. And that is what we expect for most of this night. A lot of physical play on both sides. Tanuvasa into the corner for Rich. Pass is deflected. Nordstrom, corner three. That's off the mark. Rebound, though, taken by Kaylee Rich. She puts it back up and in. That's going to be a theme for this Lone Peak team. They are much bigger and much more athletic than East. But East defense, one of the stingiest in 5A this season. And that pass is just stolen away, but Tanuvasa stepped on the sideline. And it will remain Panthers ball with a new 35. The two Tausingas, Sito and Olivia, along with Andrea Dennett, Nora Ahmed Bakr, and Tofi Della Serna starting tonight for East. Tofi Della Serna, who, by the way, had 23 points in that JV game that just finished up a few seconds ago. This is Olivia Tausinga. Tausinga gets the screen, wing side three. Banks won't go. Katie Lawrence the rebound. Lawrence speeding through traffic, cutting through the middle. Nordstrom, extra pass. Tanuvasa, wing side three. That's no good, and the rebound is to Tofi Della Serna. But a dangerous pass stolen by Naya Tanuvasa, who says thank you very much. And an early 4-0 lead here for LP, who, by the way, coming off that loss to Ridgeline last week. Coach Nancy Warner, talking with her before the game, said she wants to see a little bit more discipline from her side. They gave up 21 points in that decisive fourth quarter in that loss against Ridgeline, which, by the way, was the first LP non-region loss to a team inside the Beehive State in nearly 3 years. Lawrence, wide open three. And an early 7-0 spurt here for the Lone Peak Knights. Just underway here on this Tuesday night. Alexander Timolev joining you solo style. As that is pickpocketed and thrown the other way for Lawrence, who goes in and scores with the right hand. And already a better start for Lone Peak than they had on Friday, and a timeout is immediately called by East. With 6 minutes and 5 seconds left in the very first quarter. We're just underway here on this Tuesday night. It's a full timeout, but we'll keep it here and bring you up to date on these East Leopards, who went to Arizona last week in the Antelope Canyon Classic. Lost to Estrella Foothills, but were able to beat Lee Williams. And before that, they lost to Dixie in the Antelope Classic. So this East team, 2-4 coming into this game. Lone Peak, again, as we said, lost a non-region game to a team inside the state of Utah for the first time in almost 3 years against Ridgeline on Friday. Again, gave up 21 points in that decisive fourth quarter. against the Ridgeline Riverhawks, who are seen as one of the favorites in 4A this season. But a good start here for Nancy Warner's Knights. Exactly, I think, what she would have ordered after the tough loss. She wanted to see a little bit tougher defense and a lot more discipline from what this team had in the fourth quarter against Ridgeline last week. Here comes Tausinga. Olivia Tausinga matched up against Tanavasa, one of the better defenders in 6A. Bounce into the post. That is deflected through a whole bunch of hands, but it will go back to Lone Peak. Already the third turnover for East here in the early going, and we're barely even 2 minutes into the game. Again, no Kennedy Woolston for Lone Peak. And that's something Nancy Warner wants to see out of her team tonight. How will they respond to some early adversity? Katie Lawrence catches that overpass and is able to bank it in off the glass. Not sure if that was intended for her, but it worked. As meanwhile, Tausinga comes back the other way. She can't get that one to fall. Lawrence comes speeding out of there. It's a 3-on-1. Lawrence dumps it off. Nice pass to Rich. And it's just a track meet right now going up and down the floor. And another deflected pass out of bounds. It will stay with the Leopards, who are just having a bit of trouble getting some traction going in the early going. Again, almost 5 minutes to go here in the first quarter. 13-0 Lone Peak. Tausinga gets the screen, dribbles down through the middle, and bounces that one off the noggin of Rich. It goes out of bounds. It'll stay with East with 19 on the shot clock. That's definitely one way to use your head. Lone Peak has forced 4 turnovers already here in the first 5 minutes of the first 3 minutes rather of the game. And there's another one. Long toss ahead. Katie Lawrence up and under. Yes. Great lead toss ahead too by Shawnee Nordstrom, and Lone Peak already blowing the doors open here. Looks like they were just a little bit upset after that loss on Friday to Ridgeline, as a foul is called on the high post about, call it 15 feet from the basket. Shawnee Nordstrom called for the foul, her first. Zuri Nordstrom now checks in. And meanwhile, on the other side, the East Leopards just trying to get some traction here in the early going. And that long toss is tipped. Tanavasa is all by herself and lays it up and in. And she almost gets another one, and she does, in fact. Nordstrom shovels it back to Bartholomew. She can't finish. Zuri tries to shovel it back out towards... We want to apologize, folks. We had a lot of technical difficulties we just sorted through, but a lot of things happened while people were gone. The Lone Peak Knights running away with it here in this second quarter as Shawnee Nordstrom continues to add to her total. And meanwhile, we have a foul. We'll see what they say, if it's a 2 shooting foul or a 3 shooting foul. It's on Naya Tanuvasa. It will be 2. Olivia Tausinga will shoot 2 here. Tausinga misses the first. Want to remind you, coming up this weekend, Thursday and Friday, the best of the best from Utah and around the nation descend on Lehigh. And this is the Place Arena for the annual Lehigh Holiday Hoop Fest. Coverage begins Thursday with Dusty Litster on the call for all the action. Don't miss it. A lot of good teams coming down, too, for that tournament, including the #1 team in the nation a couple of years ago, the Duncanville Panthers, as Bartholomew can't get that one to go. But it'll include these Lone Peak Knights along with Ridgeline and the Bountiful Redhawks. Of course, all seen as favorites in their respective classifications, 4, 5, and 6A. Katie Lawrence speeding up the floor as she adds to her total. Five minutes left here in the first half. Alexander Timolips here on the call, flying solo tonight with Addison Kerr on the camera. That shot doesn't go. And a long outlet toss ahead. Zuri Nordstrom's all by herself on the other end, and she lays it up and in. And she's got her first points in the bag. That three on the way, banks in. Andrea Dennett able to get that one to go from downtown. Score is 13-8 in this quarter. In case anybody missed it, Lone Peak pitched a shutout in the first quarter. It was 31-0. Quite unusual. Tanuvasa, nice up and under move, and it behaves very kindly for her as it rolls in off the right rim. She's got 13. Katie Lawrence, by the way, has 10. Tausinga can't get that one to fall. Tanuvasa, again another outlet toss. Lawrence looking for Bartholomew. Pretty pass ahead, and she banks it in. They're just making it look way too easy. And we haven't had very many stoppages either in this first half. It's been a rather free-flowing game. Tausinga a little behind the back. Puts on the brakes. Tough turnaround shot, left that short off the front of the rim. Rebound taken by Lawrence. Nancy Warner signaling to her players she wants to slow it down. Nordstrom cuts to the basket. Nice move. And scores. And Lone Peak's laid a 50-burger here in the first 11 minutes of this game. Or first 13 minutes, I should say. Dennett for three, comes up a bit short. Avi Holdcraft checks in. Haley Rich checks back in as well. Nordstrom will take a seat. Joyce Crosby and Tofi Della Serna check back in here for East. 2:50 and running here in this first half. Tanuvasa gets the screen, and we have a reach-in foul on the high post. Foul called on Ashley Mendez, the junior, her first. That's the third on East. And what's been a largely dominant Lone Peak first half. Tanuvasa, nice set, and banks in the little three-footer from in close. And she's got 15. And then blocks the three by Dennett on the other end, but she gets her own rebound. It runs off a leg. It'll stay here with the Knights. .227 left here in the first half. Dennett puts up the shot, or rather that's Mendez, doesn't get it to go. Tanuvasa, or rather that's Holcraft with the rebound. And here comes Katie Lawrence. Almost all the starters are in double figures. As that pass deflected, but got its way over. Nice pass into the post. It's stripped out of bounds. Good hands by Tausinga. So muck up that play. As Kaylee Rich looked like she had an easy look at the bucket, but got it knocked out of bounds. 17 on the shot clock. Nordstrom left that one a bit short. Didn't realize, I think, how open she was. That's a rare thing. She'll get another crack at it, slashes her way through and scores. That's the way you make up for that. She's got 6 off the bench. And Lone Peak has got 54 here in the first half. Tausinga pull-up three. Yes. 54-11. Under 90 seconds to go here in the first half. Nordstrom, wing side, wide open three. Can't get that one to go. Fight for the rebound. And we have a foul. It'll be a reach-in foul called against Naomi Chase, her first, team second. With 1:18 officially left on the Fieldhouse clock. Again, we apologize for all the technical difficulties. Our audio was not working before tip-off, and inexplicably our camera went haywire on us near the end of the first quarter. But the most important thing is we're still here broadcasting the game. Alsinga faking a step back. Yes! What a pretty move there from Olivia Talsinga. Faked like she was going right, came back to her left, and then stuck the three. But that was an even prettier sequence passing-wise as Zuri Nordstrom found Kaylee Rich. They've got it all working right now, this Lone Peak team. As we got a foul in the low post for an armbar called against Katie Lawrence. That's only her first. Comes with 35.9 seconds left here in the first half. And a half that's largely been, as expected, Lone Peak's lob all the way out close to midcourt for Talsinga. Talsinga with 11 points. She's got 11 of the 14 for East. Almost turns it over. Steps back, though. A little banker. That won't go. Fight for the rebound underneath. It's captured by Rich. And this will be the last possession of the first half as the shot clock has been disabled. Lawrence gets a screen. Drives down all the way to the basket. Nice hesitation move to get the score. Final 5 seconds. Talsinga comes to midcourt. She puts up the shot of the buzzer! Just off the left rim, no good. Well, that will do it for the first half as Lone Peak started with the first 31 points of this game, and they haven't looked back. They lead 58-14 here at the break. An excellent performance by head coach Nancy Warner's squad, bouncing back after that tough loss against Ridgeline last week. And they now have a chance to get to 3-1 on the season. Still a long way to go, though, here in this one here tonight. But Lone Peak in control as expected. 58-14 the score. LP at the half. We'll have more in the start of the second half. In just a moment, you're watching Lone Peak Girls Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network. Before we go any further, I'd like to remind you that the Rewind Sports Network's presentation of Lone Peak Girls Basketball is presented all season long by Heidemann & Associates, the full-service law firm that is fully committed to winning for you, the client. Call them today at 801-472-7742 or go online to utah.law to schedule your free consultation. Alexander Timolip joining you solo here tonight with Addison Kerr on the camera at the Lone Peak Fieldhouse. This game has gone about as we expected it. Lone Peak up big here at the half. All the starters have scored, and the Lone Peak Knights, sans Kennedy Woolston, who's out tonight, have been able to bounce back pretty handily so from that disappointing loss to the Ridgeline Riverhawks, in which they gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter last week before falling by 4 points. And we'd like to also remind you that this week is also the Holiday Hoop Fest up at Lehigh, joining Lone Peak, Lehigh, and Ridgeline. I originally said Bountiful. You'll have to excuse me for that. Lehigh, Lone Peak, and Ridgeline will be joined by Lubbock, Monterey, DeSoto, and Frisco Liberty of Texas. Incarnate Word of Missouri will also be here, and Centennial of Nevada will be here joining those 3 Utah teams. And then the boys joining American Fork, defending 6A champ Corner Canyon, and Lehigh and Orem. Joining them will be WT White, Riverdale Ridge, Dynamic Prep, Cardinal Ritter Prep out of Missouri. Dynamic Prep and Riverdale Ridge and WT White, by the way, are from Texas. And Duncanville High School, who was the #1 team in the country a few years ago, will be making a return trip to Lehigh for the Holiday Hoop Fest. Again, the Lehigh Holiday Hoop Fest kicks off our weekend of tournaments. It will begin on Friday, not Thursday, excuse me. Friday, beginning bright and early at 9 a.m. All games will be on KSL Sports Rewind. Make sure you tune in for that, folks. It's going to be a good weekend of basketball up there in Lehigh. Lone Peak will have the ball to start the third quarter here, up big. Well, we talked about how Nancy Warner said at the beginning of the game she wants to see more discipline out of her squad and get back to Lone Peak basketball. They did that in the first 16 minutes. Let's see if they do it here in the second 16 minutes. Naya Tanuvasa leads all scorers with 15 points. Shawnee Nordstrom from outside the rack. That doesn't go. Offensive rebound, Bartholomew. She goes back up and scores. That's what she does, just be a beast on the glass. She's got 6 points now. Corner three on the way. That's off the mark. Rebound, fought for. Scrap for the ball, grabbed by Bartholomew. Lawrence's numbers going up ahead. Lawrence takes it herself, kicks it back. Tanuvasa, open three. Cha-ching! And it just continues. She's got 18 now. And we have an officials timeout here, as we have an injury, so going out. Looked like somebody got Charlie horse down there. Nora Midbacher goes out. As East just looking to get some traction here in the second half. Again, we'll have a mercy rule once we hit the start of the fourth quarter, but until then, we'll keep running the clock as normal. Olivia Telsinga, little turnaround in the post. Boy, she is so smooth. Olivia Telsinga, she's got 13 of the 16 East points. Meanwhile, that bullet pass underneath was behind Kaylee Rich. That ball looked like it hit the official, but no whistle. Here comes Telsinga. Into the corner, open look, three-pointer. That's no good. Rebound taken by Naya Tanuvasa. Tanuvasa back the other way, lob on the post. Bartholomew, too easy. Naya Tanuvasa continuing to stuff the stat sheet as Bartholomew approaching double figures now. Another three-pointer on the way. That's off the back rim, no good. Nordstrom rather, scrapping for it, gets the rebound. Lone Peak still running, full of energy. Nordstrom all the way in. And it drops off the front of the rim and in. And she now is in the double figures with 11 points. As the beat goes on here this evening. Long three on the way for Dennett. She can't get that one to go off the front of the rim short. Tanuvasa grabs the rebound. Bartholomew. Looked like she got pushed off the block, but no call. Tanuvasa, though, left alone. Left it short, though. Telsinga running back with it the other way. Nice Euro step and scores. She is single-handedly carrying the Leopards right now. Such a smooth player, Olivia Telsinga. Shawnee Nordstrom with a wide-open C to surf right through. Answers right back. Lucky 13 points now for Shawnee Nordstrom. Telsinga launches for three, banks it in. You have to think right now that East has to be pleased with the production they're getting out of Olivia Telsinga, despite the scoreline, as Shawnee Nordstrom hits another three. They just keep trading points here at the beginning of this third quarter, but this East team going up against a team that you would probably realize by now is above their weight class, but they do have a lot of good players, and Nancy Warner, the head coach for LP, talked about how they're very, very tough on the defensive end, and that how they needed to keep that one-and-done mentality, her team tonight. Certainly looks like they have taken that to heart and then some. As Lone Peak just content to kill some clock here with under 4 minutes to go and a big lead here. Lawrence. Back to Rich, back to Nordstrom. Open look, three-pointer. That's no good. Tipped down low. Bartholomew, though, gets blocked on a foul. On the follow-through, it looked like. And she is going to be a problem for a lot of teams to deal with. She is big and she is athletic. 6'2" is Sarah Bartholomew. And Bartholomew last year was the leading rebounder in 6A for good reason. And that was as a junior, by the way. She even played as a sophomore. We saw her in her sophomore year as Bartholomew goes up and sinks the first free throw. Zuri Nordstrom replaces Rich on the floor. And Sarah Bartholomew, by the way, good friends with Kaylee Woolston, who's at BYU. Of note today, BYU, of course, playing Utah State, and the men's team playing the Evansville Purple Aces in a doubleheader as Bartholomew goes 1 out of 2. Nice tap by Talsinga to get it to herself and start the break. Talsinga, a little move, gets to the basket. No, but a foul. She'll head to the line. Olivia Talsinga, the captain of this team, 5'8" senior. She has 18 of the 21 East points here tonight. And make that now 19 of the 22. There's a reason why a lot of people in 5A are high on the Talsinga sisters. You either stop one or you stop the other. You can't really stop both as Talsinga misses the second. Approaching 3 minutes to go. As you are all aware right now, the game clock bug on your screen unofficial. We keep it with the time here in the field house as Nordstrom misses that three off to the right. Battle for the rebound. Bartholomew gets there and cleans up the spill. And she now officially is into double figures. So all 5 starters have scored above 10 points. Talsinga gets that one to fall. "22 points for Olivia Talsinga. She is some talent. Talsinga, or rather, a Tanuvasa waving through traffic, kicks it back to Zuri and then over to Shawnee Nordstrom. But Zuri's all by herself in the post and she scores. A little bit of a defensive breakdown right there for East. You have to appreciate the fact that this East team, despite the scoreline, is still fighting. Olivia Talsinga single-handedly seeing to that. And if you watch the younger girls' teams, as De La Sera can't hit that three. You watch the younger girls' teams, it's hard to believe in a couple of years, or in a year from now, Lone Peak will probably be in a retooling mode as Katie Lawrence scoops that one in off the glass. But given the fact that Nancy Warner has the talent set up the way it is right now, the talent pipeline, there is no reason you can't think this Lone Peak team will be contending for at least a few more years as a foul is committed by Tapu Talsinga. Or Sita Talsinga, excuse me. Tapu is the coach for East. Rich in, Chase in, and Holcraft in. As Lone Peak up big here in this one with under 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Again, running clock will go into effect on the fourth quarter. We'll only stop on fouls and timeouts. That's the new rule. If it's above 35, the clock keeps running. Zuri Nordstrom, nice hezzy to the basket, but she gets cat to the summit, gets her own rebound, can't get it to go. Wrestle for the rebound, still loose. And finally, Talsinga comes out of the pile with it. Talsinga, nice hezzy to get inside, kicks it back out. De La Sera for three, yes! And De La Serna's got her second field goal. And she's now got 6. Canning answer back with the 3 there was Holcraft rather. Holcraft gets the rebound, kicks it back out. As we're under a minute to go here in this third quarter. The C's part for Chase, but she can't float it in. Rebound is taken. Tausinga has one behind her. Tries to go all the way. Left-handed. Can't get it to go. Offensive rebound. Got stolen away, though, by Rich. Just too many people down there in the mixer. And Lone Peak will hold it for their last possession of the third quarter. Well, Lone Peak has already scored 80 this year. They scored 87 against Layton. And given that we still have another 8 minutes to go, there's no reason to believe they could reach 90 or even 100, which would be unheard of. Lawrence, wide open three. Short. Battle for the rebound. Taken, though, by Zuri Nordstrom. Some contact from behind, but she splashes it. 2 seconds and one. Tausinga just going to heave it as far as she can. And that's it for quarter number 3. So Lone Peak cruising here this evening as expected. We head to the fourth quarter with a running clock in effect. And Lone Peak up big. Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody. If you're looking for someone or for something for someone special, give them the gift of Igloo Outfitters this Christmas. Igloo Outfitters is the only comfortable wearing sleeping bag that'll keep you warm and cozy during the cold and chilly nights of winter. Go to igloooutfitters.com and enter the promo code REWIND for 20% off your next order. That's IGLUoutfitters.com, the official winter weather outfitter of KSL Sports Rewind. We're also presented by Heidemann & Associates, the full-service law firm, fully committed to winning for you, the client. Go online to utah.law to schedule your free consultation courtesy of the Rewind with them today. Alexander Timolip alongside Addison Kerr on the camera. Flying solo here tonight at the Fieldhouse as we enter the fourth quarter with a running clock. Again, clock will stop only on timeouts and fouls. Other than that, it will continuously run throughout this fourth quarter. Pass is deflected and stolen by Shawnee Nordstrom. Nordstrom dribbling up the court. Rich. Lawrence gets the screen from Bartholomew. Now cutting is Nordstrom. Back to the corner. Rich little J. That's off the front rim. Short. Tip up. Rebound won't go by Lawrence. Back out Tanuvasa. Open look three. Bingo. Pass up the good shot to get a better shot, and Tanuvasa's got 21. Tausinga back to Olivia in the corner. Her three, this time off the top of the backboard, comes down to Tanuvasa. Tanuvasa back over to Rich, now to Nordstrom. Lone Peak doing this tonight without Kennedy Wilson, by the way, as Tanuvasa hits another three. They expect her to be back before the Lehigh Holiday Hoop Fest, which is, again, a daunting task ahead for Nancy Warner's team. But this team, no stranger to big challenges. They played Sidwell Friends in a national tournament in April last year. And they lost that game by only 4 points. So it is scary how good this team is, or has been for the last few years, as Bartholomew gets that offensive rebound, scrap forward on the floor, squirts free, bodies on the deck. Nordstrom puts it off the glass and in to cap off that crazy sequence, but Lone Peak, Lehigh, and Ridgeline joining that loaded field for the Lehigh Holiday Hoop Fest, and they are going to have some tough competition. Lone Peak, of course, beat Centennial Nevada last year in the Holiday Hoop Fest. And that was, of course, where they picked up one of their only two losses on the season as Tausinga banks that in. She's got 24. What an impressive performance by the senior captain. That is one person who is certainly not throwing in the towel. You love to see that. Lawrence Nice shovel to Nordstrom, goes up strong, no, foul. So the clock will stop with 5:31 left here in the game. All 5 starters for Lone Peak have scored in double figures. Tanavasa leads with 24. By our count, Olivia Tulsinga has 26. As Nordstrom can't rattle that in. We also want to remind you, of course, coming up this weekend is the Northern Utah Shootout. The shootout opens up with Box Elder taking on Davis on Thursday. Alex Annapolis has the call for that one, and that's also preceded by day 1 of the All-State Skyridge Falcon Classic. Westlake, Dixie, Harriman, Farmington, Copper Hills, Skyridge. That is a loaded field that's going to be joining the host Falcons out there. As Shawnee Nordstrom hits the free throw, she's got 17 points now, and she will take a seat for the remainder of the game. East, meanwhile, will go on the road to play another neutral site tournament starting next weekend. As everyone starts to get into the groove and the holiday spirit with these holiday preseason tournaments. Ball squirts free on the rebound. Tanavasa has it. She'll slow it down. Nordstrom. Nice cut to the basket by Tanavasa, but following her all the way was Dennett. Good defense. On the return, here's Zuri Nordstrom. Little jump hook. Yes. Nice little ball reversal there. Back to Zuri Nordstrom as Nancy Warner will take a timeout to get the rest of the substitutions in. With 4:44 left here in the game. And Lone Peak up big tonight here at the Fieldhouse. We'll take a break and be back after this. Saturday, the Northern Utah Shootout concludes with a matinee matchup between 2 of the best teams in the state. The Olympus Titans take on the Davis Darts. Join Dane Stewart from Davis High for that one starting at 10:30 in the morning. Only on your home for the UHSAA, KSLSports.com. What's going to be a loaded weekend of preseason tournament basketball. And then next week, some marquee matchups highlighted by Woods Cross taking on Alta next Friday. And then in 2 weeks, you all will want to be around for this one. Copper Hills against West Jordan as the Jaguars look for some revenge following that 45-point pasting they suffered at the hands of their rival in the playoffs last year. You know Christian Woodin's team has that one circled in dark red on their calendar. We cannot wait for that matchup. It is going to be a tasty one in West Jordan. Here, though, just finishing this one up as Dennett puts up a 3. That doesn't go. Offensive rebound down. Pass was a little hot to handle there. Back it comes out to De La Serra, and she just loses the handle. Lawrence will sprint up into the forecourt. Everyone except Bartholomew. Our bench players right now. A little pin down play here for Lawrence. Swings it all the way back out. Lawrence and Bartholomew, by the way, the only 2 starters out there. I misspoke just now. Or rather, 3 starters out there with Rich. Lawrence, little pin down, back out. Nordstrom, corner 3, wide open. That doesn't go. Offensive rebound, nice play by Holcraft. And a new 35. Lawrence back out to Bartholomew, and they'll just reset. Sure, Nancy Warner wants to see this out of her team, see if they can take some time and have some players step up in big spots. Nice dish back to Bartholomew. A little too strong. And then she takes a hit. And she goes down holding her right ankle, and that's not what you want to see. of all the things that Lone Peak can't afford right now to have happen, 45 down on the court is not a good sign. Joyce Crosby called for the foul. Clock stops with 3:17 to go. Back in we come to the field house. Sarah Bartholomew goes out with looked like an ankle injury. Like we said, if you're Lone Peak, you cannot afford to have anybody else go down at this stage of the game. The good news is Bartholomew was able to walk off somewhat under her own power. She's up at the trainer's table right now, and she is walking, albeit gingerly. So it appears she's okay. And if she is, that would be a big sigh of relief for the Lone Peak Knights heading into the Holiday Hoop Fest as Lawrence adds to her stat total. As we hit 3 minutes to go here in the ball game. Again, running clock in effect because of the mercy rule. Clock will only stop on timeouts and fouls, as it did on that last foul by Joyce Crosby. A little bit of a high pass right there, stolen away. Nice play there by Lonnie Holcraft. Holcraft, by the way, who had 18 points in that JV game earlier against East. Lawrence goes down below the baseline, down below the free throw line again. 17 on the shot clock. Naomi Chase. Back to Rich. 10 on the shot clock. Joyce Crosby defending her out beyond the three-point line. Back it comes Lawrence. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Has to put up the three. That doesn't go. Crosby the rebound. And the pass comes off to Dennett. Final 2 minutes of this one as East will take a timeout to get the rest of their subs in. It is a full timeout, but we will keep it right here. Coming up at the end of tonight's game in just a few minutes, I'll be selecting the choice for the Heidemann Associates Player of the Game, presented by the full-service law firm that's fully committed to winning for you, the client, Heidemann Associates. Call them today at 801-472-7742 or go online at utah.law to schedule your free consultation with them, courtesy of the Rewind. As we said, the All-State Falcon Classic and the Holiday Hoop Fest in Lehigh are the highlight events of the weekend. We announced the Hoop Fest field a little bit earlier, but the All-State Falcon Classic field is just as loaded. Westlake, Dixie, Harriman, Brighton, Skyridge, Copper Hills, and Farmington and Crimson Cliffs are the 8 teams that make up the field in the All-State Falcon Classic. We'll have all those games, of course, on KSL Sports Rewind starting Thursday morning. And wouldn't it be something if Copper Hills and Dixie meet up? That would be Logan Whitehour against his old team. Of course, Whitehour, a key piece of John Watkins' team for the last 3 years, transferring as a Flyer. And Copper Hills left retooling this year, still looking for their first win. Led, of course, by one Isaiah Reiser. Affectionately, of course, I nicknamed him Ice for his propensity to step up in clutch moments. Off the turnover, here comes Lawrence. Last 2 minutes of this one. That pass deflected out of bounds by Talsinga. And Olivia Talsinga's just been everywhere tonight. Give her credit. 26 points. And some huge plays down the stretch for East. It doesn't show up on the stat sheet, those kind of hustle plays, but they are definitely a big deal when it comes to coaching your players. Clock running with under a minute 20 to go now here in the game. All the way, Nordstrom scores off the glass on the reverse. Helani Lovecraft is the only player that hasn't scored for Lone Peak. That is crazy. Olivia Talsinga has 26 of the 30. Tipped out of bounds and will stay here as the clock continues to run with under 50 to go. East will go to 2-5. Lone Peak will go to 3-1 with a huge win. Taina Wood comes back in now. Talsinga comes out. And one should definitely give a hand for that young woman, Olivia Talsinga, the captain, the senior. She did some work for the East Leopards here this evening. That three on the way. That's off the top of the backboard. That won't go. Wood the rebound. Wood, 9 on the shot clock. Puts your shoulder in. Little jumper in the lane. That doesn't go. Rich gets the rebound. And that will do it. Katie Lawrence will bring it up. And a good bounce back here for Lone Peak. Exactly what the doctor ordered. After that tough loss on Friday against Ridgeline, they go in to the Lehigh Holiday Hoop Fest with a huge win. And the way they did it was truly dominant here tonight. 96-30 the final. Lone Peak runs away. Lone Peak will next play Copper Hills here at home next week on Tuesday, but it's off to the Lehigh Holiday Hoop Fest for them. And what a loaded field they'll go up against, and glad that they'll have Sarah Bartholomew for that one. We hope Kennedy Woolston will be there as well for the Lone Peak Knights as the fight song now goes over the loudspeakers here at the Fieldhouse. Time for our Heidemann & Associates Player of the Game, presented by the full-service law firm that is fully committed to winning for you, the client. Naya Tanuvasa, our pick tonight. She had 24 points in just over 2.5 quarters of play, but an honorable mention goes to Olivia Talsinga, 26 of the 30 East points here tonight. She did some amazing work to give East something to build on for their upcoming tournament. Again, Lone Peak goes to 3-1. They'll be off to the Lehigh Holiday Hoop Fest this weekend. Then they'll play Copper Hills here on Tuesday. East will head off to another regional tournament this weekend as well. They are now 2-5. So Nancy Warner walking off the court. She has to be pleased. She wanted to see how they responded to a little bit of adversity and how they could bounce back. This was a good indication of what's to come this season for the Lone Peak Knights as they move now to 3-1 of the season with the Lehigh Holiday Hoop Fest coming up in a couple of days' time. We'll have that for you here on the Rewind Sports Network as well. We will the Falcon Classic and the Northern Utah Shootout. It's a big weekend of preseason basketball coming up here this weekend on the Rewind. But for now, for Addison Kerr and for the hardworking Vince Francis back in the studio helping us with our technical difficulties tonight, my name is Alexander Timolip. This has been another presentation of Lone Peak Girls Basketball on the Rewind Sports Network, presented by Heidemann & Associates. The final score, once again, is Lone Peak 96 and the East Leopards 30. Until we meet again, everyone, take care of one another. Aloha from Utah, good night, and happy holidays.